For a long time, Yaman was simply gone. No press. No public events. No new posts that revealed anything real. Only shadows, a blurred photo here, a poetic caption there. And fans around the world kept asking the same question, where is he? At first, people thought it was just another break. A short pause before his next big project. But weeks turned into months, and the silence became louder. Rome, usually filled with paparazzi chasing him down every street, was suddenly quiet. His usual cafes didn't see him. Even his close circle refused to speak. Something had changed, deeply. Behind closed doors, friends whispered that the Ken everyone knew, confident, charming, unstoppable, was gone. What was left was a man fighting himself, his past, and something he couldn't forget. Some say it all started after that night in Istanbul, the night that changed everything. A private call he never returned. A woman waiting on the other end, her heart breaking as the seconds passed. That call would become the one moment he would regret more than anything else. But Ken didn't just disappear out of pain. He was searching for meaning. For balance. For the truth behind who he had become. Fame had given him everything, money, recognition, power. But it had stolen one thing that no success could ever replace, peace. He began traveling in secret, moving from city to city. Milan, Venice, back to Istanbul, always staying just out of sight. In every place, he seemed to be chasing something invisible, maybe forgiveness, maybe himself. Until one morning, without any warning, the silence broke. A single post appeared on his Instagram. A black background. White letters. The wait is over. The world went wild. But no one realized, this wasn't the comeback they were expecting. Because this time, Yaman wasn't returning for fame. He was returning for the truth. When Ken finally broke his silence, fans expected the usual, a trailer, a TV comeback, maybe a luxury brand deal. But this time, there was no production logo, no sponsors, no network behind him. Just one short message that felt more personal than anything he had ever written: this isn't about fame. It's about something I left unfinished. Those words hit differently. They weren't the confident tone of a superstar promoting his next move, they were the confession of a man who had been living with a weight on his chest. Rumors exploded instantly. Was he talking about his acting career? A broken friendship? Or her? Because ever since Erkenci Kuss, the connection between Yaman and Demet Özdemir had never truly faded. Fans believed they had moved on, two stars walking separate paths. But behind the cameras, that story wasn't finished. And now, it seemed like he was ready to face it again. Italian tabloids began to speculate that his mysterious return was linked to a project that had been quietly filmed months ago, something no one had known about. Not a series. Not a film. But a documentary. A story told by Ken himself. Not about success or red carpets, but about regret. About love, mistakes, and the pressure of being loved by millions yet feeling utterly alone. Insiders claimed he had been working with a small production team, away from the spotlight, recording his own story in fragments, from Istanbul rooftops to the quiet streets of Rome. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't polished. It was raw. Real. And at its center was one moment, the call he never returned. The one that could have changed everything. As the rumor spread, Demet's silence only fueled the fire. She didn't post. She didn't deny. She didn't confirm. But her followers noticed subtle signs: an old photo reposted, a song lyric about unfinished stories, and an interview where she said, "Some calls stay unanswered, but never forgotten." For fans, that was enough. Something big was coming, something emotional, unpredictable, and deeply personal. Yaman was finally ready to tell his truth. But nobody expected how far that truth would go, or who it would affect most. The day of the premiere came without warning. No press conference. No glittering red carpet. No celebrity interviews. Just a quiet screening in Rome, in a small theater, with barely 30 invited guests. When the lights dimmed and the first images appeared on the screen, everyone understood this wasn't a comeback, it was a confession. The documentary opened with a single frame, Can, sitting alone in a dimly lit room, staring straight into the camera. No makeup. No stylists. Just him, raw, honest, tired. He started speaking softly, "They told me to move on. To forget. But how do you forget something that still lives inside you?" His voice cracked slightly. For a man known for his confidence, this vulnerability was shocking. He spoke about fame, how it made him feel powerful, yet empty. About loneliness, how every success felt meaningless when shared with no one who truly understood him. And finally, about that night, the call he never returned. He didn't say her name. He didn't need to. Everyone knew who he meant. He described being overwhelmed, afraid of saying the wrong thing, and thinking he'd have time later to fix it. But later never came. The next day, everything had changed. The distance, the press, the expectations, it had all become too much. And instead of calling back, he chose silence. "If I could go back to that night," he said, looking straight into the lens, "I wouldn't let the phone ring twice. I'd answer. Because some voices only come once in a lifetime." The room was silent. Even the journalists watching from the back lowered their cameras. By the end of the film, people were in tears. It wasn't just about love, it was about humanity. About the things we lose when we think we're too strong to admit we're hurt. And when the credits rolled, the final scene hit harder than anyone expected, a blurred photo of Can and Demet, taken years ago on set. Smiling, laughing, completely unaware of the storm that was coming. Underneath, just 2 words appeared, "I'm sorry." Within hours, clips from the private screening leaked online. #Can Yaman returns trended worldwide. But the question everyone kept asking wasn't about his career, it was, did Demet see it? For 2 days after the premiere, Demet Özdemir said nothing. No statements. No interviews. Not even a story on Instagram. But the silence was louder than any words she could have said. Her fans flooded her comments, "Did you see what he said?" He finally spoke, "Demet. Please, just answer him." Everyone waited, the media, the fans, even Ken himself. He hadn't tagged her. He hadn't sent her a message. He just waited. And then, on the 3rd night, something happened that no one expected. Demet appeared live, not for a show, not for an ad, but for a charity event in Istanbul. She walked on stage, calm, graceful, her hair tied back simply, wearing no jewelry, just a white dress. And when the host asked her how she was feeling, she paused for a moment. Then she smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes people return not to start over, but to say what should have been said long ago." The crowd went completely silent. Everyone watching knew what she meant. That short sentence was enough to set the internet on fire. Within minutes, #Demet Responds began trending worldwide. Clips of her quote were everywhere, on TikTok, on Twitter, on every fan page from Italy to Brazil. Later that night, she posted something even more powerful, a black and white photo of her phone, the call log from years ago, showing one missed call. No caption. No explanation. Just that image. The world lost its mind. Was it his call? Was she showing the proof that she once waited for him? No one knew for sure, but everyone felt it. And for Can, who was still in Rome, that image was everything. He didn't comment publicly, but sources close to him said he spent the entire night awake, rewatching the documentary and staring at that photo. He had opened his heart to the world, and now, for the first time in years, he felt understood. But it wasn't over yet. Because what happened next, the meeting everyone thought would never happen again, was about to change everything. It happened quietly, no cameras, no press, no red carpet. Just 2 people who once shared everything, and then lost it all. A week after Demet's cryptic post, paparazzi in Rome caught something unexpected, a familiar black car stopping in front of a small cafe near Piazza Navona. Moments later, Yaman stepped out, dressed simply, no security, no entourage. He looked nervous, almost like a man walking into the unknown. Minutes passed. Then another car arrived. And when Demet stepped out, the world seemed to freeze. She looked different, softer, calmer, as if years of distance had finally settled into quiet acceptance. When their eyes met, there was no need for words. No scripts. No rehearsed lines. Just silence, and the kind of tension only two people with unfinished hearts can feel. Witnesses say they sat inside for almost 2 hours. No one could hear what they said. Some described smiles. Others said tears. But one thing was clear, it wasn't about fame anymore. It was about closure. About the pain of years that could have been love, and love that became memory. Later that night, both of them posted something. Ken shared a photo of a half-empty espresso cup, captioned simply, "Peace." Demet, hours later, posted a sunset over the Bosphorus, with 4 words that broke the internet: "Some stories never end." The world erupted. For fans who had followed their journey from the laughter of her Kensi cuss to the heartbreak of their silence, it was everything they had ever hoped for. Not a reconciliation, not a statement, but something deeper. A moment of truth, forgiveness, and the kind of emotional honesty that fame usually destroys. In that moment, both of them had said what they couldn't say years ago. They didn't need a script, a director, or a stage. They just needed each other. And as night fell over Rome, one final message appeared on Can's story, white letters on a black background, the same way it all began: "The wait is over." But this time, it wasn't just for him. It was for everyone who had ever believed that real love, no matter how long it takes, always finds its way back.